organizing, you're doing it wrong. Or should I say, I'm doing it wrong, despite how many years I've been on here sharing how to organize every nook and cranny in your home. It turns out that I've been making a lot of common mistakes that I'm willing to guess a lot of you out there may be making as well. But these are all really easy, quick fixes to improve the organization systems in your home. So with all of that said, let's get started with the first common organization mistake that you may be making. And that is ignoring your natural habits. Like sometimes we want to make an organization system fit our fantasy version of ourselves or our Pinterest worthy version of ourselves, but that's just not the reality of how you and the other members of your household are actually living your life. If you are constantly finding things out of place, you need to reevaluate the system and see where you naturally want to put that item. I used to have the shoe cabinet right here behind me, but the shoes were never ending up in the cabinet, specifically with my kids. So I started to observe them and I noticed that where they want to take their shoes off is actually in the playroom. So I moved their shoe cabinet into the playroom and now they have been putting their shoes away without me even having to ask. Next common mistake is making your organization systems too complicated and too many steps. We're usually in a hurry, short on time, so we have to be realistic with what we're actually going to do. And I like to call this a drop zone, like a throw and go kind of situation. You should not have to open a bunch of bottles and unpackage things and repackage them and label them every time. Like the system has to be easy enough that you can do it within 15 seconds or less. Like you should be able to throw and go. So under my bathroom sink, I used to have these stackable closed containers and it would take too long to remove, put my items back, stack it back, and put it under the cabinet. So now I have an open system, so it's easier just to toss and go the items after I use them. And it's made it so much easier to actually use the system and keep things organized. Next mistake is kind of a two-parter, and that is ignoring awkward spaces or vertical space. We really need to maximize the space that we have. And now there are so many clever solutions for doing this. So for example, in my laundry room, this is such a narrow, small space. So I found extremely narrow rollout cart. I want to say it's like under 20 bucks, like very affordable. And this is where I keep all of my extra laundry supplies. And it uses this like 4-inch space that's between the dryer and the wall, which otherwise was completely dead space. This type of narrow cart can also be used for your spices between your fridge and counter space in your kitchen or even in your bathroom, like between the toilet and the countertops. Two of my other favorites for maximizing awkward spaces, first is the broom hook and then also the cleaning bottle hooks. I love these. Sounds so simple, but I can't tell you how convenient it is to hang your all-purpose cleaner, your countertop cleaner right here on the inside of your cabinet. Makes it so easy to grab and put back, and it's using otherwise completely dead, unutilized space, the inside of your cabinet. Similar to this, but different, is not distinguishing between high use and low use items and organizing them accordingly. So your high frequency use items, the items you are using every day or multiple times a week, need to be easier to access, easier to grab, visually apparent than the items that you are using less often. So the things you are using daily or multiple times a week need to be right there up front, and the things you're using less often, you're reaching for less often, can be stored farther away, harder to access. Everything is not created equal here, and I feel like where this comes into play the most is in the kitchen and bathroom. So in your kitchen, your appliances that maybe you use a couple times a year, your bread maker, that does not need to be out there right there front and center on your countertop. That can be stored away in a higher up cabinet or in your garage. And in your bathroom, you don't need to have every hair and body care product that you ever use out on display. Just the ones that you're actually reaching for and using, those can be either on the countertop or in those front access drawers, versus some of your extra products or your less utilized products. Those could be stored away. I have them stored on this higher up shelf. So the more frequent use items need to be the most accessible. Less frequently used items can be stored away in harder to reach areas. Another huge mistake is focusing on organizing versus decluttering. I would say 80% of organizing is actually decluttering. And one simple framework you can use for this is avoiding duplicates. My mom, we all know and love her. She's the world's most lovable hoarder. Where she really tends to go overboard is having duplicates. So if she likes something, she will get 3 of them, or she'll get 1 in every color. And if you can just rein in your duplicates and not only your clothing, but maybe kitchen appliances or hair supplies, it can really help you contain the clutter. And the other most common pitfall when it comes to decluttering is sentimental items. That is where people really get hung up. They have a hard time letting go. And the latest approach that I've taken towards sentimental items that has been working is, if this item was destroyed, would you fight to get it back? Or if this was lost, would I miss it? Would I need it back? And asking those questions, and it's helping her to let go of sentimental items. Next organization mistake is overstuffing your space. You always need to leave room to grow. And I like to have a mindset of 20% empty. So you have space if you get a new pair of shoes or you get something new, that you have a place to put it. Otherwise, you're instantly overstuffed and the system falls apart, which actually leads me to my last organization mistake. I think this is probably the most common, and that is having the idea that organization is a one-time process, like set it and forget it, when in reality, it's a constantly evolving process that you have to stay on top of. I like to think about it quarterly, like seasonally. Usually in my house, it's the playroom, it's the kids' stuff, the kids' toys, and they're growing and what they're playing with changes. So that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean that I've failed. It just means that we need to reevaluate, get creative, come up with some new solutions. Because I will tell you right now, their playroom is getting out of control again. That probably means A, they have too much stuff, and B, the system I have is not working. So I'm reevaluating, getting rid of some things, adding some new solutions so I can get back on top of it again. If you're watching this video and you are noticing some of my cute home decor, that was my last video I just posted, some aesthetic Amazon home decor finds that look designer inspired for a fraction of the price. So I will have that video here. If you have not seen it yet, I highly recommend it. So you can click here to watch that. If you are new here and you watched all the way to this point in this video, don't forget to subscribe to see future videos from me. With all of that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video.